Most people will die having never truly lived, and if you're listening to this, there's a good chance you're one of them. You've been sleepwalking through your own existence, going through the motions, collecting paychecks, paying bills, and calling it a life. You've become so addicted to comfort that you've forgotten what it feels like to be truly alive. Your dreams have been replaced by Netflix subscriptions. Your ambitions have been traded for security, and your potential has been sacrificed on the altar of what other people think is acceptable. The brutal truth is that you've become a stranger to yourself, and the life you're living is a prison you built with your own hands. Let me tell you something that might shake you up a little bit. The person you are right now, sitting there listening to me, that person might not be the real you. In fact, I'm willing to bet that the real you is buried underneath years of other people's expectations, society's programming, and your own self-imposed limitations. And here's the hard truth nobody wants to hear. That old version of you, the one that's been playing it safe, making excuses and settling for less than you deserve, that version has got to die for the real you to finally come alive. Now, I know that sounds dramatic. Death always does, but I'm not talking about physical death. I'm talking about the death of everything that's been holding you back. The death of your old ways of thinking, your old habits, your old story about what's possible for your life. Because until you're willing to let go of who you've been, you'll never become who you're meant to be. Most people walk through life like they're wearing a costume that doesn't fit. They put on this act every single day, pretending to be someone they think they should be, someone that makes other people comfortable, someone that fits into the boxes society has created. But here's what I've learned after decades of studying success and human potential. The greatest tragedy in life isn't death. It's living without ever meeting the real you. You see, we get comfortable with our limitations. We make friends with our fears. We get so used to living small that we forget we were born to live large. The comfort zone isn't comfortable at all, it's just familiar. And familiar feels safe, even when it's slowly killing our dreams. Remember when I was young, I had big dreams. I wanted to make something of myself, wanted to build something meaningful. But I also had this voice in my head. This voice that sounded a lot like the people around me, telling me to be realistic, to play it safe, to not get my hopes up too high. That voice became my prison guard, and I didn't even realize I was living in a cell. You know what I learned? That voice wasn't even mine. It belonged to my parents, my teachers, my friends, the television, the newspapers, society itself. Somewhere along the way, I had let other people's limitations become my own. I had let their fears become my reality. I was living someone else's life and calling it my own. Most people never question the programming they received in childhood. They never ask themselves, are these beliefs actually true? Are these limitations real? Or am I just repeating what I was taught? We accept other people's opinions about what's possible for our lives, and then we spend years collecting evidence to prove them right. But here's what changed everything for me. I realized that the person I had become wasn't the person I was born to be. I was like a lion who had been raised by sheep, convinced that I was supposed to graze in fields when I was designed to rule the jungle. The real me was still in there, but it had been buried under years of conditioning. Years of playing it safe, years of settling for less. The tragedy isn't that we fail. The tragedy is that we never try. The tragedy is that we let other people's small thinking make us small. The tragedy is that we spend our lives being an imitation of someone else instead of an original version of ourselves. Look around you. How many people do you know who are truly alive? I mean really alive, passionate, excited about their future, working towards something meaningful? Not many. Most people are just going through the motions, sleepwalking through life, waiting for something to happen to them instead of making something happen for themselves. The price of staying the same is always higher than the price of change. Always. You might think it's safer to stay where you are, to keep doing what you've always done, to remain the person you've always been. But every day you don't grow, Every day you don't challenge yourself, every day you don't become more than you were yesterday, you're actually moving backwards. The world doesn't stand still, and neither should you. Time doesn't care about your excuses. Time doesn't care about your fears. Time doesn't care about your comfort zone. Time keeps moving, and it's taking you with it. The question is, are you moving toward the life you want, or are you moving away from it? Are you becoming more of who you're meant to be, or are you becoming less? Change is hard, I won't lie to you about that. But what's harder is waking up one day and realizing you've spent your whole life being someone you never really wanted to be. What's harder is looking in the mirror and seeing a stranger staring back at you. What's harder is carrying the weight of regret for all the chances you didn't take, all the dreams you didn't chase, all the times you said tomorrow instead of today. Now let me tell you what needs to die first. Those habits that have been running your life on autopilot. You know what they are. The habit of hitting the snooze button instead of getting up with purpose. The habit of reaching for your phone first thing in the morning instead of reaching for your goals. The habit of complaining instead of creating solutions. The habit of blaming others instead of taking responsibility. These habits might seem small, but they're quietly stealing your future one day at a time. Every morning you wake up and follow the same routine, you're voting for the old you. Every time you choose the easy path over the right path, you're strengthening the person you no longer want to be. These habits have become so automatic that you don't even think about them anymore. They're like invisible chains that keep you tied to your past. But here's what most people don't realize. Habits are just repeated decisions, and if you can make a decision once, you can make a different decision. The power to change your habits is the power to change your life. It's not about willpower, it's about creating new patterns, new routines, new ways of thinking and acting. I want you to think about this. Every successful person you admire has different habits than you do. They wake up differently, they think differently, they spend their time differently, they respond to challenges differently. Their habits created their results, and your habits created yours. If you want different results, you need different habits. Then there are the stories you tell yourself. Oh, these stories are powerful. They sound so reasonable, so logical. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough money. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't have the right connections. I missed my chance. These stories become your reality because you believe them. But here's what I know about stories. They're just stories. They're not facts. They're not permanent, and they can be rewritten. These stories didn't come from nowhere. They came from your experiences, your failures, your disappointments, the things people said to you when you were vulnerable. But just because something happened to you doesn't mean it has to define you. Just because you failed at something once doesn't mean you're a failure. Just because someone told you that you couldn't do something doesn't mean they were right. The most dangerous stories are the ones that sound reasonable. I don't have time. I don't have money. I'm not lucky. Success is for other people. These stories keep you stuck because they give you permission to stay where you are. They're excuses dressed up as reasons. They're lies you tell yourself to avoid the discomfort of growth. But here's the truth. Every limitation you believe about yourself was learned, and anything that was learned can be unlearned. Any story that was written can be rewritten. Any pattern that was created can be changed. You are not stuck with the beliefs you have today unless you choose to be. You've got to let go of the relationships that drain your energy and the environments that keep you small. I know this one's tough because we're talking about people you care about, places you've called home. But if the people around you are constantly reminding you of your limitations instead of your possibilities, if they're more interested in keeping you comfortable than helping you grow, then you've got a decision to make. You can stay loyal to their low expectations, or you can be faithful to your high potential. Some people in your life are invested in you staying the same. They're comfortable with the old you because the old you doesn't threaten them. The old you doesn't challenge them to grow. The old you doesn't make them question their own choices. When you start to change, when you start to grow, it makes some people uncomfortable because it reminds them of their own unrealized potential. But you can't let other people's comfort zones become your prison. You can't let their fears become your limitations. You can't let their settling become your ceiling. Love them, appreciate them for what they've given you, but don't let them hold you back from becoming who you're meant to be. Your environment is constantly shaping you, whether you realize it or not. The places you spend time, the conversations you have, the music you listen to, the books you read, the shows you watch, the websites you visit, they're all programming your mind. They're all influencing your thoughts, your beliefs, your expectations, your actions. If you want to change your life, you have to change your environment. You have to be intentional about what you allow into your mind and your space. You have to create an environment that supports the person you want to become, not the person you've been. The victim mentality has got to die too. This is the voice that says life is happening to you instead of for you. It's the voice that keeps a running list of all the ways you've been wronged, all the reasons why you can't succeed, all the evidence that proves the deck is stacked against you. But successful people don't have fewer problems. They just refuse to be victims of their circumstances. They become architects of their destiny. The victim mentality is seductive because it takes the pressure off. It means you don't have to take responsibility. It means you don't have to take action. It means you can stay comfortable in your complaints. But it also means you give up your power. It means you give up your ability to change your circumstance. Playing the victim might feel good temporarily, but it will cost you everything in the long run. It will cost you your dreams, your potential, your peace of mind, your relationships, your future. The price of being a victim is a life of limitation, frustration, and regret. Fear-based thinking is another killer of dreams. Fear will always give you 1,000 reasons why you can't do something. It will paint pictures of all the things that could go wrong. It will remind you of every time you've failed before. But courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action in spite of fear. The real you, the authentic you, the powerful you is on the other side of your fear. Fear is not your friend even though it pretends to be. Fear says it's trying to protect you, but it's actually trying to control you. Fear says it's keeping you safe, but it's actually keeping you small. Fear says it's being realistic, but it's actually being limiting. The old you listened to fear and let it make your decisions. The new you acknowledges fear, but doesn't let it run your life. Here's what most people don't understand about transformation. It happens gradually, then suddenly. You work on yourself day after day, sometimes feeling like nothing is changing, like you're still the same person with the same problems. Then one day you wake up and realize you're different. You think differently, you act differently, you attract different opportunities, different people, different result. But there's a period in between the old you and the new you that's uncomfortable. It's like being in between trapeze bars. You've let go of who you were, but you haven't quite grabbed hold of who you're becoming. This is where most people quit. This is where they go back to their old ways, because the unknown feels scarier than the known, even when the known isn't working. Let me tell you something about this transition period. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. You're supposed to feel a little lost, a little uncertain. That's not a sign that something's wrong. That's a sign that something's changing. Comfort is the enemy of progress. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. So how do you let go? How do you kill off the old version of yourself? You start by changing your daily routine. Small changes in your routine create big changes in your life. Get up 30 minutes earlier. Read instead of watching television. Take a walk instead of sitting on the couch. Replace one bad habit with one good habit. Do this consistently and you'll be amazed at how quickly your life starts to shift. First, you've got to get clear on who you want to become. Not what you want to have, not what you want to do, but who you want to be. What kind of person achieves the goals you want to achieve? What do they think about? How do they spend their time? What skills do they have? What values do they live by? You've got to become that person before you can have that life. This is where disciplines come in. Disciplines are the bridge between thought and accomplishment, between inspiration and achievement, between necessity and productivity. The new you is built on new disciplines. Maybe it's the discipline of reading for 30 minutes every day. Maybe it's the discipline of exercising 5 times a week. Maybe it's the discipline of planning your day the night before. Maybe it's the discipline of saving 10% of everything you earn. These disciplines might seem small, but they compound over time. Success is not a one-time event. It's the result of daily disciplines practiced over time. And here's the beautiful thing about disciplines. They don't just change what you do, they change who you are. Every time you do what you said you would do, especially when you don't feel like doing it, you're building the muscle of integrity. You're proving to yourself that you can be trusted with your own goals and dreams. The compound effect is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, and it works in your personal development just like it works in investing. Small, consistent actions taken over time create extraordinary results. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in a decade. The new you is built one day at a time. You've got to develop new skills and mindsets. The old you might have said, I can't do that. I don't know how. The new you says, I don't know how yet, but I can learn. The old you might have seen obstacles as reasons to quit. The new you sees obstacles as opportunities to grow stronger, smarter, more resourceful. Surround yourself with the right influences. Read books that challenge your thinking. Listen to audio programs that inspire you to action. Attend seminars and workshops that stretch your mind. Find mentors who've been where you want to go. Join mastermind groups with people who are committed to growth. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant and water will grow. Plant seeds of possibility, not seeds of limitation. The new you takes responsibility for everything in your life. Not because everything is your fault, but because everything is your responsibility to change if you don't like it. The old you might have blamed the economy, the government, your upbringing, your circumstances. The new you says, if it's going to be, it's up to me. This shift in responsibility is one of the most powerful transformations you can make. When you stop looking for someone to blame and start looking for ways to improve, everything changes. When you stop waiting for conditions to be perfect and start working with what you have, miracles happen. When you stop making excuses and start making progress, your life becomes extraordinary. The new you understands that success is not about luck. It's about preparation meeting opportunity. And preparation means working on yourself when nobody's watching, developing skills when you don't need them yet, building character when it would be easier to take shortcuts. The new you knows that what you do in private determines what you experience in public. The new you also understands the power of association. You become like the people you spend the most time with. Their attitudes become your attitudes. Their beliefs become your beliefs. Their standards become your standards. If you want to rise to a new level, you need to surround yourself with people who are already living at that level. This doesn't mean you abandon old friends or become arrogant. It means you're strategic about who you allow to influence your thinking. You seek out mentors who've achieved what you want to achieve. You join groups of people who are committed to growth. You read books by authors who challenge your thinking. You listen to audio programs that inspire you to action. The new you invests in personal development like your life depends on it, because it does. You invest in books, courses, seminars, coaching, mentoring. You understand that the best investment you can make is in yourself, in your skills, in your knowledge, in your personal growth. You realize that who you become is more important than what you get, because who you become determines what you're able to keep. But here's what separates the new you from everyone else. You don't just consume information, you apply it. You don't just learn, you implement. You don't just get inspired, you take action. Because knowledge without application is just entertainment. Inspiration without action is just manipulation. The new you turns learning into earning, turns knowledge into results, turns potential into performance. The new you also develops emotional intelligence. You learn to manage your emotions instead of letting them manage you. You understand that your emotional state determines your actions, and your actions determine your results. You develop the ability to stay calm under pressure, to think clearly in chaos, to respond instead of react. You learn to delay gratification. The old you wanted everything now, even if it meant sacrificing the future. The new you is willing to do what others won't do today so you can have what others won't have tomorrow. You plant seeds today that you won't harvest for years, but you plant them anyway because you understand the power of compound growth. Now let me paint you a picture of what life looks like when you become who you're meant to be. When you finally let the old you die and allow the real you to rise, everything changes. Not just your circumstances, but your entire experience of being alive. You wake up with energy and purpose. You know why you're here and what you're working toward. You're no longer drifting through life hoping something good will happen to you. You're actively creating the life you want to live. You're the author of your story, not just a character in someone else's. You have confidence, but not the fake kind that covers up insecurity. You have the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you. You've developed skills. You've built character. You've proven to yourself that you can set goals and achieve them. This confidence isn't based on comparison with others. It's based on your relationship with yourself. You attract different opportunities because you're a different person. The old you might have been invisible to certain possibilities. The new you is a magnet for the kind of life you want to live. Opportunities don't just happen to you. They happen because of who you've become. Your relationships improve. Not just because you're different, but because you attract different people. You no longer settle for relationships that drain you or hold you back. You surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, and support your growth. And the relationships you already have get better because you bring more to them. You have freedom. Not just financial freedom, though that often comes with personal development. You have the freedom that comes from knowing you can create whatever life you want to create. You have the freedom that comes from not being controlled by your fears, your past, or other people's opinions. You have the freedom that comes from being authentically yourself. But here's something important to understand. When you transform yourself, you don't just change your own life. You become a beacon of possibility for everyone around you. Your family sees what's possible. Your friends see what's possible. Your coworkers, your neighbors, even strangers you meet see what's possible. You give them permission to dream bigger dreams and take bigger actions. This is both a privilege and a responsibility. When you step into your power, when you become who you're meant to be, you have an obligation to use that power wisely. You have an obligation to help others, to contribute, to make the world a little better than you found it. Success isn't just about what you accomplish. It's about who you become in the process of accomplishing it. And who you become affects everyone whose life you touch. Your transformation gives others permission to transform. Your courage gives others permission to be courageous. Your authenticity gives others permission to be authentic. But you've got to maintain momentum. Growth isn't a one-time event, it's a lifestyle. The person you become today is just a foundation for who you can become tomorrow. There's no finish line in personal development. There's always another level, another challenge, another opportunity to grow. The key is to stay hungry, stay curious, stay committed to becoming more than you are today. Don't get comfortable with your progress. Don't get satisfied with your achievements. Use them as stepping stones to even greater accomplishments. Success has a way of making people soft if they're not careful. When things start going well, when life gets comfortable, when the struggles of the past seem far away, there's a temptation to coast, to relax, to think you've arrived. But the moment you stop growing, you start dying. The moment you stop challenging yourself, life starts challenging you in ways you didn't choose. The new you understands that success is not a destination, it's a journey. It's not something you achieve once and then you're done. It's something you create every single day through your choices, your actions, your commitment to excellence. Every day you get to choose. Are you going to grow or are you going to coast? Are you going to push forward or are you going to slide backward? The new you also understands that with great power comes great responsibility. As you grow, as you achieve, as you become more influential, you have an obligation to use that influence wisely. You have an obligation to help others, to contribute, to make a difference. Success without significance is just sophisticated selfishness. You become a leader whether you want to or not. People watch what you do, how you handle pressure, how you treat others, how you respond to setbacks. Your life becomes a message, and you get to decide what that message is. Are you going to be an example of what's possible, or are you going to be a warning of what happens when potential is wasted? The old you might have been satisfied with small dreams, small actions, small results. The new you thinks bigger, acts bolder, expects more. The old you might have been afraid of failure. The new you is more afraid of not trying. The old you might have been worried about what people would think. The new you is more concerned with what you'll think of yourself if you don't pursue your potential. This transformation isn't easy and it's not quick. It requires patience, persistence, and an unwavering commitment to becoming better. There will be days when you want to quit, when the old patterns seem easier, when the voice of limitation seems louder than the voice of possibility. But those are the days that matter most. Those are the days that separate the people who transform from the people who just talk about transformation. So I'm asking you to make a decision right now. Are you going to stay loyal to the old you, the comfortable you, the safe you, or are you going to have the courage to let that version die so the real you can finally come alive? This decision isn't just about you, it's about everyone whose life you'll touch, everyone you'll influence, everyone who needs to see what's possible. Your transformation gives others permission to transform. Your courage gives others permission to be courageous. Your authenticity gives others permission to be authentic. The choice is yours, but choose quickly. Because every day you wait is another day the real you stays buried. Every day you postpone your transformation is another day you rob yourself of the life you're meant to live. Every day you settle for less than your potential is another day you deny the world your unique gifts and talents. The old you has to die for the real one to rise. It's time to stop being who you were and start becoming who you're meant to be. Your best life is waiting for you, but it's waiting on the other side of your willingness to change. The question isn't whether you can do it. The question is whether you will. The time is now. The person is you. Let the old you die and watch the real you rise. Your transformation starts today with the very next choice you make. Make it count.